Hello, and welcome to the second web lecture of the fourth module of the MELDE project, which concerns e-safety. This module aims to present a range of scenarios and ways to stay safe online. The e-safety module consists of 5 topics, which are risk and responsibilities online, protecting personal data, digital copyrights, online misinformation and harmful content, and cyberbullying. As part of the first topic, which is risks and responsibilities online, issues like potential threats to hardware and software, threats to data and information, ways of reporting internet scammers, and online rights and responsibilities are going to be discussed. In this topic, you will be introduced to a series of risks you can encounter online, and we will discuss both risks and responsibilities in the digital world. In the first web lecture, threats to hardware and software were analyzed, and in this second web lecture, we are going to discuss about threats to data and information, ways of reporting internet scammers, and online rights and responsibilities. Let's start with cybercrime, which is a criminal activity that either targets or uses a computer network, or a network device in the commission of a crime. A form of cybercrime is hacking, which is identifying weaknesses in a computer system or network to exploit its weaknesses in order to gain access. Computer hackers are unauthorized users who break into computer systems in order to steal, change, hijack, or destroy information, often by installing dangerous malware without the user's knowledge or consent. While a computer is connected to the internet, malware that a hacker might have installed on the PC will quietly transmit personal and financial information without the user's knowledge. So we have to understand that anyone who uses a computer connected to the internet is susceptible to threats posed by computer hackers. Remote keystroke logging, known as key logging, is another form of cybercrime and is one of the best techniques for capturing passwords. It is the use of software or hardware to record keystrokes as they are typed into the computer. Taken at this basic level, a keylogger looks absolutely harmless. In the hands of a hacker or a cybercriminal, a keylogger is a potential tool to steal away your information. Keyloggers are a serious threat to users and the user's data, as they track the keystrokes to intercept passwords and other sensitive information typed in through the keyboard. This gives hackers the benefit of accessing PIN codes and account numbers, passwords to online shopping sites, email IDs and logins, and other confidential information. Next, there is pharming, which is a portmanteau of the word phishing, which we will analyze later, and the word farming. It is a scamming practice in which malicious code is installed on a PC, misdirecting users to fraudulent websites without their knowledge or consent. Farming exploits the foundation of how internet browsing works. The sequence of letters that form an internet address, such as www.google.com, have to be converted into an IP address by a DNS server in order for the connection to proceed. Farming exploit attacks this process through the installation of a virus or Trojan by a hacker on a user's computer that changes the computer's host files to direct traffic away from its intended target towards a fake website. The illegitimate websites can be used to install viruses or Trojans on the user's computer, or they could be an attempt to collect personal and financial information for identity theft. Let's continue with another form of cybercrime, which is social engineering. Social engineering in the context of information security is the use of deception in order to manipulate individuals into divulging confidential or personal information that may be used for fraudulent purposes. It uses psychological manipulation to trick users into making security mistakes or giving away sensitive information. A perpetrator first investigates the intended victim to gather necessary background information, such as potential points of entry and weak security protocols needed to proceed with the attack. Then, the attacker moves to gain the victim's trust and provide stimuli for subsequent actions that break security practices, such as revealing sensitive information or granting access to critical resources. What makes social engineering especially dangerous is that it relies on human error rather than vulnerabilities in software and operating systems. Mistakes made by legitimate users are much more predictable, making them harder to identify and predict than a malware-based intrusion. Next form of cybercrime is a denial of service or DOS attack, which is performed by one machine and its internet connection by flooding a website with packets and making it impossible for legitimate users to access the content of the flooded website. A distributed denial of service or DDoS attack is similar to denial of service attack, but is more forceful and it's harder to overcome. It is launched from several computers, and the number of computers involved can range from just a couple of them to thousands or even more, since it's likely that not all of those machines belong to the attacker. They are compromised and added to the attacker's network by malware. These computers can be distributed around the entire globe, and that network of compromised computers is called a botnet, which is a portmanteau of the words robot and network. Since the attack comes from so many different IP addresses simultaneously, a DDoS attack is much more difficult for the victim to locate and defend against. Phishing is considered as cybercrime and is a method of social engineering with the goal of obtaining sensitive data, such as passwords, usernames, and credit card numbers. The attacks often come in the form of instant messages or phishing emails designed to appear legitimate. The recipient of the email is then tricked into opening a malicious link, which leads to the installation of malware on the recipient's computer. It can also obtain personal information by sending an email that appears to be from a bank, for instance, asking to verify the user's identity by giving away their private information. The flooding of the internet with unsolicited or misguiding messages can be defined as spamming. Spam is mostly used for aggressive commercial advertising. The most common form is email spamming, followed by search engine spamming. The first is the practice of sending unsolicited email messages to an indiscriminate set of recipients. The second is the practice of modifying HTML pages in order to increase the chance of having them placed among the top search engine results. Another threat to data and information is malicious software or malware, which is any program or file that is harmful to a computer user. One form of malware is rogue security software, which is a malicious software that misleads users to believe there is a computer virus installed on their PC or that their security measures are not up to date. Then the user is offered to install or update his security settings. The user is either asked to download a program to remove the alleged viruses or to pay for a tool. Both cases lead to actual malware being installed on the victim's computer. Next form of malware is a Trojan horse or Trojan, which is a malicious bit of attacking code or software that tricks users into running it willingly by hiding behind a legitimate program. It is often spread by email that may appear as an email from someone the user knows, and when he clicks on the email and its included attachment, he immediately downloads malware to his computer. Trojans are also spread when the user clicks on a false advertisement. Once inside the computer, a Trojan horse can record the user passwords by logging keystrokes, hijack his webcam, and steal any sensitive data he may have on his computer. Next form of malware is a computer worm. Computer worms are pieces of malware programs that replicate quickly and spread from one computer to another. A worm spreads from an infected computer by sending itself to all of the computer's contacts, then immediately to the contacts of the other computers. Transmission of worms is also often done by exploiting software vulnerabilities. Interestingly, they are not always designed to cause harm. There are worms that are made just to be spread. Another form of malware is a rootkit, which is a collection of software tools that enables remote control and administrator-level access over a computer or computer networks. Once remote access is obtained, the rootkit can perform a number of malicious actions. It comes equipped with keyloggers, password stealers, and antivirus disablers. Rootkits are installed by hiding illegitimate software so that when you give permission to that software to make changes to your operating system, the rootkit installs itself in your computer and waits for the hacker to activate it. Other ways of rootkit distributions include phishing emails, malicious links or files, and also downloading software from suspicious websites. Information security is a critical problem for individuals and organizations because it leads to great financial loss. Stolen payment card information, such as the card's owner name, card number, or expiration date, can be used for fraudulent online purchases. The potential for negative impacts can be much greater with fraudulently used payment card information, particularly when that data is tied to a user's credit card. Identity theft, also known as identity fraud, is a crime in which an imposter obtains key pieces of personally identifiable information, such as social security or driver's license numbers, in order to impersonate someone else. The information can be used to obtain credit, merchandise, and services in the name of the victim. You can report cybercrime through the website of Europol or report an information security incident through the website of the European Commission. You can also report an online scam through the e-consumer website. If you want to report cybercrime in the UK specifically, you can do so by accessing the Action Fraud Alert website, in Cyprus by accessing the Cyprian police website, and in Greece by accessing the Greek police website. A digital citizen is someone who has an identity on the internet. Being a digital citizen means that you are part of a digital community, and therefore you must exercise self-awareness in addition to awareness of others in the community. Digital citizenship is accompanied by many rights and responsibilities, which are intended to protect you as well as everyone else with whom you interact. Some of our online rights include access to knowledge of how the internet works, how information is accessed, what is fact or not, what is content, and what is advertising. Other online rights include the protection of privacy, protection from bullying, harassment, or violence, feeling safe online physically, mentally, and emotionally, have control over our personal data, be able to easily report upsetting, disturbing, or harmful online content to the internet providers. Also, we should be able to play or talk with friends, participate in discussions or forums, and be able to create new content online. Some of our online responsibilities include respecting other users' personal data and intellectual property, and not to post this data without the owner's consent. Always choose difficult passwords that can't be accessed and keep them undisclosed in a safe place. Other online responsibilities include not to harass or bully others, avoid strangers and report harmful or any suspicious behavior, respect other users' identities and values, Be aware of one's digital footprint and how this affects how one is perceived and who and what one represents. Also, we should help others, and especially young children, navigate safely on the internet, cross-check the validity of online information, navigate only to websites appropriate for one's age by respecting any age restrictions, and finally, read the terms and policy on the websites we visit. In this web lecture, you were introduced to different threats to data and information, such as types of cybercrime, malware, financial loss, and identity theft. Also, we discussed about ways of reporting internet scammers and what online rights and responsibilities are. In the next web lecture, we are going to discuss about protecting our personal data online. If you have any questions, you can find us at the MELDE Project's website. Also, you can find this material in the project's e-platform. Thank you for listening.